childhood. Things were so much simpler then, weren't they? A lot of the problems we have now seem so insignificant back then. We were happier. We only cared about the most minor things. We just went out under the sun, played all day with our friends, and laughed till we couldn't anymore. That was a regular thing for us. Now we have bills to pay, we have the pandemic to get over, the economy is down the drain, and things we used to think were so cool, now they don't seem that way anymore. You know that feeling, don't you? Stumbling upon something you used to think was cool as a kid, but you're just indifferent towards it now. As it turns out, this is a very common thing for adults today. We turn to the web to find out which things people found so cool when they were kids, but have lost their appeal when they turned older. Smoking. Everybody knows that smoking is bad for you. Everyone knows that it gives you lung cancer. And I know you're sick of hearing about it, but actually the dangers are still understated. People smoked everywhere, and as a kid, it seemed like the cool and adult thing to do. Nobody mentioned that all you were doing was slowly poisoning yourself and paying for the privilege. When you know all these, when you become an adult, suddenly it's not so cool anymore. Cell phones. When cell phones were introduced, not that many people had them. The flip phones were especially cool because how they functioned and how you had to flip them open when you had to use them and flip them close afterwards. Now everyone has a smartphone and they pretty much do everything, including killing off the small digital camera and Palm Pilot industries. The internet. When we were young and internet access was limited, people used to hang out in internet cafes all the time. People went there to send emails, do research, do IRC chats, and play video games. Whereas now, smartphones are common and you're connected 24 hours a day. Most of us have computers in our own homes. The internet is just such a big aspect of our lives now that a lot of us forgot just how cool this technology is. We surely thought so back when we were younger. Violent and bloody TV shows. When we were younger, the A-Team, Airwolf, Magnum P.I., Knight Rider were all the cool TV shows. We had Rambo, Chuck Norris, and Arnold kicking ass, and the bad guys always ended up getting shot or blown up, and they all died. Kids used to run around pretending to shoot each other with cap guns, water pistols, guns made of sticks, bazookas made out of logs, anything really. Not really the same anymore. Today's TV shows are a lot more thoughtful, less random gun violence, more weirdness and grittiness. Getting a tan. Copper tone billboards were everywhere, commercials for suntan oil too. Lotions and oils were marketed for maximizing your tan, not protecting your skin. Sure, there were warnings about skin cancer and premature aging, but only the fringes seemed to care. It was more important to get a tan, regardless of the consequences. People were told that the way to get whiter teeth is to get a good suntan. We just don't perceive tanning this way anymore. I mean, it happens to a lot of us, especially for those who frequent the beach, mountain trekking, and any other outdoor activities, but it's not a cool thing we seek anymore. These days, we just don't see any more of those copper tone ads. Sunscreen is widely considered important. Tanning is largely fake. Silly bands. These things were all the rage back in the old days. The more you had on each arm, the cooler you were. Seemingly from out of nowhere, people just started wearing these things on your arm. It was frequently talked about, ultimately becoming a Gen Z legend. People bought, gave, asked, and traded for silly bands, and it was a treacherous business. People would lie about what bands were in or rare and try to cheat you out of your good bands. Getting a good collection took work. It was all worth it though. It was just fun having these, keeping them. Now it all seems so trivial. It's just a good and distant memory. Cursing. When we were young, when you said a bad word, you were the bad boy on the playground. Everybody would go, ooh, he said a bad word. Now, you and everybody cusses and it's not so much a big deal anymore. Everyone's just used to it. People either assume it's just how you speak, or depending on the situation, wonder why you don't have a better vocabulary. Cheating. As a child, if you cheated and got away with it, you felt like you were so clever to have not gotten caught. Now that we're older and professionals, if someone who's in your profession were to cheat their way to a task, we just find that plain distasteful. Shoes with wheels. We remember how popular these things were. Everyone had them. If you didn't, you were not part of the cool kids, so to speak. You'd see kids without Heelys running races with kids who had them and losing because why run when you can roll? Floppy disks. During our elementary days, schools were treated floppy disks like they were the most amazing things created for technology. We only ever heard about them. We weren't allowed to use them or touch them, And we never really understood what they were for because we were like 6. Compared that to our storage devices now, and oh, it seems so trivial. Money. Back then, if you had like $100, you were rolling in it. You could buy so many things with just that amount of money, and your friends will be more than happy to go with you. Mainly because if you want to buy treats for them too. Now, you're lucky if you make it through even a week with just $100 in your wallet. And finally, jobs. Oh, how we used to think jobs were cool. It seemed such an adult thing to do. You get to do something you love and earn money for it. Oh, how naive we were. So what do you think? In your opinion, what was cool back then, but just doesn't seem cool now? Let us know down in the comments below.